Garrison Dental Innovation Podcast. My name is Jason Phillips, and I'm the Director of Marketing for Garrison Dental Solutions. And with me today, I have Dr. Jeff Davies, currently in Dallas, Texas, right?
Yeah.
And what's the name of your practice again? It's
Dallas Designer Smiles.
Designer Smiles. That's the one, dude. And you got that dope website and and good graphics and stuff. I mean, I don't know if you had that professionally done or if you designed it yourself or whatever, but it's pretty clean, dude.
Thanks, man. No, I did it myself, actually.
Really?
Yeah. It's something that I just started doing for fun, but it's cool. I mean, I actually need to add more content to it. I got it up just initially real quick, just when I bought this place.
Yep.
And just because the other website was like super dated, super old, not mobile friendly at all, or nothing like that. So I had to get to something better, but it needs more content in it now, which is what I'm working on actually as we speak.
No, that's good though. I mean, but you got a full. I mean, you've got a good patient load right now. I imagine, or it came with the practice.
Come with the practice. That was the main thing I ended up buying with the practice, was buying the Goodwill and things. It's like dental equipment, used dental equipment's pretty poor. There's no real value in that.
Right.
I got the location that I paid for and the patients. And then after that, it's like marginal. But no, patients are great. Patients are really cool, really nice. Everyone's been really receptive to everything. My style of dentistry and things. And coming back from COVID, everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. They've been awesome.
That's good, dude. That's really good. But you're in North Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's Dallas in the background that I see right there.
Yeah. Technically, it's Highland Park where it's at. So it's part of there. I mean, Cuban's probably like 15, 20 minutes away from here, not much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
But all the nice people are in like Preston Hollow and stuff. So it's a great part of town.
Okay. And were you familiar with that area originally when you were looking to buy a practice, or did it just kind of pop up?
No, I was actually just looking for Dallas itself. There was one that was like North Texas, like on the border of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Gainesville, super small town. And we looked at it and was like, can't do it. And on that same trip down here to check out that office, we saw this one as well. Right, yeah, let's go to Dallas for sure. Well,
I mean, there's a lot going on there, and you've got there's some nice areas. I think I haven't been in Dallas a whole lot. I had to do an event in Plano one time. Yeah. I think I might have told you about that on a conference call once. I said it really blew my mind in Plano. I was staying at this Marriott downtown, and right next door was like a beer bar or something like that, and on the street there were 3 exotic supercars. There was a Lamborghini, there was a Maserati, and like a Ferrari or something. And I'm like, what the hell's going on in this town, dude?
That's the thing. It's very comfortable. Everyone here has just a super nice car, and you just see these sweet cars going down the freeway all the time.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, I don't know. I thought if you go back to the olden days with what was the name of that show was Dallas, wasn't it? With was before a little bit before your time, but it was all about big oil money and everything, dude. I don't know what's still driving that economy. I imagine it's oil and property or whatnot, but
basically that. And there's tons of athletes here. I mean, that's a smaller market, obviously, but they're here. It's just a good economy, yeah. But mostly oil and businesses and stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Well, you got a lot of people are fleeing California to go live there too. Right?
There's no taxes. It's great. It's awesome. There's no.
Oh, I didn't know that part of it. I thought like Florida was one of the only no tax states. There's no taxes in Texas either, or
income tax. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so for our paychecks are a lot easier.
Oh.
Now, I mean, we're paying sales tax for like goods and things, but
sure.
That's just Oregon, I think, and probably Maine. That's you guys are all make fun of me for that. I don't know, but
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool, dude. That makes a lot of sense.
It's cheaper to live for sure. It's kind of nice.
It is. Well, I mean, I don't remember. I know that you lived in Southern California for a while, but where are you originally from?
Yeah, Los Angeles, and
from
then LA. Just outside of there, and then I bounced around a bunch, but then ended up over here.
Okay.
California's a great place. I would like to stay there, but it's not for me.
No, I was in the same boat, dude. I mean, growing up in the valley and then Newbury Park, we moved on up to the east side, like the Jeffersons, and it was a bummer. I mean, I didn't want to leave. All my family was there, but me and my wife decided that we wanted to have a family, so we moved to the Midwest, and I don't know, dude. It's sometimes you got to go where the money is, where the jobs are to move up anymore. It's not like the old days, right? Where you get a job and you hang out there for 30 years and you get a good pension, and that's been gone for a while, for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I don't know. It's weird sometimes when I think about it, because when I look at every time I get a little nostalgic, I look on Google Maps, the old places where I used to live, and they're just not recognizable anymore, dude. So it's weird.
It's kind of fun and sad. Like, I was back a while ago, so obviously with USC, going to school there and things like that, I went back a little bit, but like it's even that is just so different, and it's. I love visiting, and I would love to live there in some ways, but like it's just really expensive.
Sure.
Different types of. I mean, it's crowded. I don't mind the people. That's kind of fun, actually. I think, but like, I wouldn't be able to go to the beach enough to to make it worth it.
Right.
I'd go to every Dodger game though. I did want season tickets when I was there. I never got the chance to get it though.
Dude. So I mean, I hesitate to ask your age, but I think you're about what 12 years younger than me. I think
36.
So you're 36. Okay, so yeah, you're 11 years younger. So this is a really weird deal, dude. I was watching, I've been trying to find stuff on Amazon Prime to watch in lieu of regular television. And there's ESPN has a 30 for 30 program. They've got like 4 seasons. And in season one, I think it was, there was a 30 for 30. It's called Fernando Nation, right? So it's about Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah.
And that was the time that I was a fan, dude. We would go and get bleacher seats. And my dad would take me. My brother was too young. I was probably like 6 or 7 years. No, I was 8. And we would go, dude. And it was like that was the heyday for me, for the Dodgers. It was that early '80s team, and it was really weird. I was at a bar. Imagine that, like a year ago, dude, with one of these magazine reps, and we started talking. He's a huge baseball fan. He's like 10 years older than me, and so I'm like, "Well, do you remember the early '80s Dodgers?" And he's like, "Well, can you tell me some of the people who were on that team?" And I just started ripping these names off. I was so proud of myself, dude. It's like, you see, you had Mike Scioscia at catcher, you had Fernando Valenzuela at pitcher. I want to say Steve Garvey was at first. I get confused who was at second. I don't remember if it was Ron Say or it was somebody else. I mean, maybe he was at third or shortstop. And then you had like the outfield. You had like Pedro Guerrero back there and everything. And it was really weird because it all came back. I love the Dodgers teams from back then, dude. They were great,
Yeah, dude, we went to a lot of the games too. I mean, that was a little different times. We're probably 10 years after all that stuff, but no, same though.
Well, because you probably were a big fan when they had like, was that Gibson who was playing for him at that point? I think. Yeah.
Listen to me. Now you're going to embarrass me on like this national podcast.
Sorry,
I can tell you all about it now.
Well, no, dude. I mean, one of the things, like I told you, one of the things that we were trying to do, and this is the first one, so yeah, it's a little bit. One of the things I like about the podcast format is kind of unscripted and everything, and the ones that I've watched and kind of gotten some tips from. It seems like they're the ones that work the best, or where you've just got a nice free-form thing going on. But, I think that as far as the dentistry game, if you want to call it that, is concerned, a lot of it revolves around innovation, and that's where we're talking about, dental innovation and everything, and not just from products and trying to sell things to dentists and everything, but just having the same mindset and having the same goal, which is trying to do right by your patients, and we're trying to give present tools or create tools or instruments and whatnot for you guys to do better dentistry. And One of the things that it's always kind of a funny thing to me when I talk to somebody or talk to a dentist, it's all over the map. It's like, oh, how did you decide that you wanted to be a dentist? And earlier you said that you were in sports marketing or whatever, but on the as far as the clinician side, it's always funny to me. It's like most of you guys have some kind of a drive to do that, and on the business side, if you're going to work for a manufacturer, most of us just fall into it. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, what was there any kind of motivation for you to have your hands in somebody's mouth for the better part of a day?
When it comes down to it, I think a lot of it was just being my own boss. I mean, so my dad kept getting laid off in different jobs, moved around a bunch as kids. I lived in LA, lived in Tucson, lived in Sacramento and things,
Yeah.
And I moved in the middle of my high school years, and then I just wanted something where I could just be my own person, be stable, not have to worry about all that stuff.
Wow.
But I was one of those classic kids. I had braces, and I ended up was sitting in the chair. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do this. This is pretty easy. He goes just a quick little check. Oh yeah, it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, but no, it's fun. Once I started getting serious with it, I'm like, it's a good mix of the arts, people, and then also just all the sciences, obviously,
Right. Right.
Um, but no, I mean, ironically, I was sitting with the Astros. The season was over, and I was bored. I'm like, now what do I do? There's games are over. I can't do this, can't do that. And I started looking up different jobs and stuff. I'm like, maybe I should go be a dentist, go back to school and be a dentist.
Yeah.
I almost had my master's. Sorry, I almost had my degree, my bachelor's with in business and things. But then I basically switched it and got my biology degree instead. But
where did you go to undergrad, dude?
A small school up in Utah. Utah Valley is what it's called.
Okay.
It was just a place where I happened to be at. I with moving around a bunch. I did some schools in Arizona, did a few classes there. But it happened to be just Utah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good though. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of something that kind of happened. Really, I mean, it was not by default, but it was just had the most things to offer me versus a corporate type job. I didn't want to go through what my dad did really, so that was the main deciding factor at the time.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I told you when I found out that you'd put yourself through dental school and everything, I was a little surprised. I was actually thinking about this when I woke up this morning. I was brushing my teeth of all places, and I'm like, when when we did the biomimetic dentistry webinar program, and you were sharing some of those insights. I mean, me growing up in Southern California, when I was a little kid, I mean, I think I still have something from elementary school where I had to write a biography, and one of the things I wrote on there is that I wanted to go to USC, right? But then as I got older and everything, it's kind of funny. It's like school's got a reputation, and I don't want to go. I don't want to go into the different names or things that USC stands for. I mean, the letters, right? I'm sure you've heard them all. But the first thing I thought of was, Jeff probably grew up pretty affluent, and you kind of went, boom, get into dental school, and that's what you do, and it's an awesome school. I mean, you've got some great, dental school. You got some great people who came out of that place, and even now, just the academics that are there. I mean, that's a top-notch place, man, and you can't be a slouch going there.
I got kind of lucky with some of that. No, but I was a very just middle class kid growing up. I mean, obviously, like I said, my parents moved around a bunch. I mean, we had money, but I was probably a lot more poor than what I thought. I had money for baseball. I had money for the things I think I needed. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know any difference. I mean, we ate good foods and stuff. We had a decent house and stuff like that.
Right.
We had a pool in the backyard, so it wasn't that crazy. But
Right.
but my parents didn't have a lot of extra money, I think, to really pay for stuff. They paid for my phone bill in college, but I paid for all the other stuff. But yeah.
Well, I truly believe that people appreciate stuff more when they have to work hard for it, dude. And I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent or anything, but I just I truly believe that. And I don't know. I mean, it's so. I like I was telling you on the phone the other day. One of the most surprising things to me when I was listening to one of the installments of your webinar series was when you had gotten out of school and you had gotten your license and you went to go at some of your first roles as a full-fledged dentist. And that's what blew my mind because I had no idea, dude. I mean, corporate dentistry, I get it, and it's a big deal now more than ever before. But some of the stuff you were sharing, it blew my mind. You know, and I know you can't really go into a whole lot of detail, but I don't know. Can you share some experiences with some of that?
No, I'll tell all the details I want. I mean, that was the reason I had to get out of Utah and those places to get into a place like this, where like I am doing my own thing, my own boss. Like I was ready to be my own practice owner since day one. And so yeah, I'd go into these like smaller, crappier kind of clinics in my mind, and like crowns were like $500. It was like
That's cheap, dude.
so cheap. And so I'm trying to make a living, a fresh guy out of school for $500, and I'm the biomedic guy that's not doing crowns. So I'm like, dude, I gotta do a shit ton of fillings on these, but like, no, it didn't make sense. And so I'm like, okay, this isn't what I'm doing. I gotta have a different fee structure. I gotta do my own things. But yeah, people would like gift me these crowns all the time. I was like, I don't know, maybe I was too like pompous and arrogant at the time too. Looking back at it, maybe I was like,
well,
I was fresh.
I don't know. I mean, I look at it, if you put enough time in getting a degree and you're a full-fledged professional. I mean, you're a dental surgeon, and that's the thing that, the more time I spend in doing this kind of stuff, I used to travel a lot before COVID, and so you hear people talk. You talk to the guy next to you in the plane. So what do you do? And I said, I'm in the dental business. Oh, I hate dentists. And so, and that's number one. I know dentists hate hearing that people hate dentists, right? But number two is like, well, that's not a real doctor. So really, there's blood and gore, and they've got their hands in your mouth, and they're doing all this stuff. They're relieving pain. That's surgery to me, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm balancing blood pressures. I'm balancing medications. I'm balancing the things I inject in their bodies. Yes, I'm balancing pain and what type of symptoms they have. I mean, yeah, and like people always say, we're working upside down inside of a mouth in a dark cave area that's super wet with water and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to be very precise. We're working in like millimeters. Even millimeters are too big sometimes.
You bet.
And so it's a very precision type field, and so that's why I was all about those details coming into it. Like, I need these details. This is how it's all about. And corporate places, in my opinion, just lose sight of those details. They just go really fast, and that's where they get that bad name, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's production, right? Really. I mean, I used to run into that a little bit when I worked at Glidewell. I mean, and Glidewell is a great company, but they like to. I don't want to say this the wrong way. I mean, I'll say it the right way. Jim Glidewell's philosophy was, he wanted to make dentistry more affordable to a wider group of people. Now, do some dentists take exception to let something less than perfection? And I would say yes. They would. Some dentists are okay with paying for $250, $350 for a crown. Because they'll probably make 8 to 10 times that when they seed it, but on a good day, rather than get it almost right, which I don't know. You can go back and forth about it. I mean, I was in a panel or watched a panel one time where a small boutique dental lab actually was very rude to Jim Glidewell, and Jim was so pissed off that after the last question, he left the panel. And he went to his his own personal jet and flew home.
That's what I realized, though, that I've softened on my arrogant type of personality with it. Not everyone can do the full-fledged biomedics or whatever. Now, nor does everyone want to. But it's taken me my experience to in those different types of atmospheres to learn how to apply those things.
Yep.
And I can do a few concepts and still validate the theme of biomedical dentistry versus the corporate stuff. The corporate is very good at getting lots of what you're talking about, the access to everybody,
Right.
but should not be everyone's style of dentistry if they don't want to,
Agree.
And that's just how I've had to view it because, I mean, I was just high and mighty coming out of school. I thought I knew all this other stuff. I was ready to go, super eager. But no, I mean, it's giving care to a lot of good people. So that's what I learned by being those. I'm like, okay, if I'm doing a crown, if I'm doing whatever, even though I'm not making tons of money, I can still do it well and give them a good service. And so,
Right.
But
Right. No, I mean it's I don't know, dude. It's a funny thing to me. I mean, especially people. If anybody's watching or listening this, I hope they're gaining some things. Just because you've got different standards or different levels that people are willing to either end user patient is willing to pay or whatever and I don't know, dude. I actually very much enjoy, being in the dental business just because, my mentor, Jerry Honstein, told me years ago that probably 2 decades ago, you know what? You'll always have a good job if you're in the dental business. You'll probably never get rich, but you always make a good living, and I think that goes for people in the industry and for dentists as well. I mean, it's just you pick your own path, I suppose. Right.
yeah.
And the great thing was also is that he used to tell me that you'll always have a job until somebody comes up with some kind of rinse that eliminates caries completely. Right. It hasn't happened yet,
It's close, I think, in some ways, but I know. So then why'd you pick with then, right?
Sorry.
So why did you pick with dental? I mean, or why'd you stick with it? You got
that's a good question. I I was so here it was. It was 1997, and I had just separated from my first wife, and I needed a job really bad. I was living with my aunt, and I was watching soap operas with my uncle because he was a what do they call that, a house husband, right? They didn't have any kids. And so then, I'm sitting there and I'd been living with them for a few weeks. And I said, I can't do this. I need to be gainfully employed. And so, it was a bad deal, dude. It was really, I mean, I could see how people could get used to being okay, being unemployed, but I just couldn't do it. And, and I didn't have any, I guess I want to say, professional skills, right? I was in the Marine Corps and I got out, and the only thing I learned in the Marine Corps was how to blow shit up. So that doesn't translate well into the modern economy. Well, maybe today with all the stuff that's going on in these cities, but my career path was you either be a cop or I had to go back to school. I had to go back to college. And that wasn't in the cards because I had such a horrible time, when I went to college the first time. That's the reason why I ended up in the Marine Corps. So I went to a temporary agency in town, Manpower, and there were these three women in there, and so I'm taking these tests. Okay, well, how fast can you type? That was my best skill. That's the number one skill that I learned in high school. That's I still use today. I'm a very fast typer. I've been up to about 80 words a minute.
Oh, dang.
And yeah, and so they gave me a typing test. Okay, do you know how to do can you use a spreadsheet? Yeah, yes. And so I'm passing all these tests, and these three women are in a little huddle. And I can't hear what they're saying, and then they come over. And I hate to tell this story because it's good, like you said, it's a national podcast, but it's okay because it's interesting, I suppose. One of them comes over to me and says, "Look, we have an opportunity for you right now." I said, "Okay, what's that?" And they said, "Well, we've sent three women to this one company, and over the last month, and none of them have been able to last more than 2 days." And I said, "What do you mean?" And well, the owner of the company he's just kind of, he's ill-tempered. and they've come back crying, right? Yeah, for just being an admin assistant, And I said, okay, well, that's fine. And I said, well, because of your background, we think if we send you there, you're not going to come back crying. And I said, well, probably not. And so, yeah, that's when I went to go work for DVA, and $7 an hour as a temp, and it was kind of crazy when I think about it now, just because, I mean, I was desperate. I had everything I owned in a duffel bag. I didn't have a car. I was using my aunt's car, and I had no prospects, nothing going for me. I had my GI Bill. If I wanted to go back to college, I could have, but I don't know. It just didn't seem like the thing I wanted to do at the time. So yeah, started working for this little tiny company. Anybody who's watching, who's ever had to do any work on a stone model, if you've ever had any voids because of a bubble on the impression, DVA made a product called Zap It. They still do. And Zap It is a void filler that you'd put on the model, and you'd take a little bit of sandpaper or whatever, and you'd fill that void, and then you're good to go if you're making a crown, I went there, and the Jerry, the owner, he took me under his wing because he didn't have any sons. So he said, no, you know what, you have promise, and he was older. He was an old guy, he's still an old guy. But he said, no, you're going to travel with me. I'm going to teach you the business, and so that's how I ended up. The best part was my first time. I'd worked for the company for like a year. And IDS, the International Dental Show in Cologne, Germany, he goes, okay, I'm taking you with me to Cologne. And I said, okay, I've never been to Europe before. And he goes, there's just one rule. In that, the rule is you got to keep your mouth shut the entire time. So, and so I did. I sat in these meetings 8 hours a day for 5 days, and I took notes, but not one time did I ever open my mouth. And that's jarhead discipline right there, because like kids, younger people today, they'd be compelled to say something, and no, I didn't want to screw it up, so I didn't say a damn word. So it was great. It was a family-run business. Sometimes it was a little contentious because his daughter ran the business, and then her husband ran production. And then the grandsons worked for me for a while, and it was a weird deal. I enjoyed it and everything, but I knew that everybody, you realizes if you're driven, at some point you got to move on to make your own mark. And so that's what I did. I felt confident enough to go on, and that's when I ended up working for Glidewell for 4 or 5 years, and then hopped from there to Ohio. I worked for Colteen Weldent for 5 years as a product manager, and now here I am at Garrison. And the best part, though, I can tell you, is I feel very honored and very lucky that I was able to learn dentistry from the laboratory side, because the crazy thing is when you go from laboratory to clinical, you're talking to dentists at a show or something, and most dentists just figure, oh, this kid doesn't know anything. He just went to college, probably got this job. He doesn't know his mesial from his distal, or his maxilla from his mandible. And I'd start talking to him, and we start getting into technical conversations. Oh, well, dentistry. I said, well, it's easy when you learn from the dental technology side, because you can work on models, and what looks good. You learn shades, you learn anatomy. This crown, it's either going to fit or it's not. Or an inlay or an onlay or something. And I was fortunate because the facility that I worked at, and the one I worked for Glidewell, they wanted us, like the marketing people, to spend time on in the production floor to know what the hell that we're talking about. That's one of the great things about Glidewell's program. When they even, a lot of people don't know. I don't know if they still do it or not, but not to the same degree as they used to. But they would take people off the street, and they'd pay them like $10, $12 an hour to sit and learn dental technology for 3 months. And as long as they passed, certain tests and things, they put them in production, and you'd have, somebody, maybe somebody wouldn't get beyond wax ups. And now, I mean, I'm dating myself a little bit, because there was hardly any CAD CAM when I left there. And now it's like 80% CAD CAM now, but you had, your model department. So you had you got all, that's all they do is they're making models. Then that gets kicked upstairs. You got a case pan, boom, they go in. Okay, so that now it's going to go to the waxer. The waxer waxes it up. It's crown or bridge or whatever if it's fixed. And then all of a sudden, okay, that's going to go to casting. Well, you got a casting guy. You've got all he does is just sprue everything up and cast it in these humongous rings, dude. And the guys who were good at it, they knew they had a system. So then boom, we go there, metal finishing. Then boom, go over to the ceramics, which the ceramics were at the top rung of the laboratory, because they're the ones who had all the artistry. They know what teeth are supposed to look like, how they're supposed to fit, how they're supposed to look, the whole bit. And then it would go to QC, then it'd go boom, back down to shipping, boom, out the door, 5 days. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Dentistry has been really good to me. I've enjoyed myself doing this, and I'm going to say, gosh, it's hard. I think other people I've talked to in different industries, I've not met a whole lot of people that I disliked. You know what I mean? It's a hard way to say it, but it's true.
Yeah. So how'd you get mixed up with Garrison then? How did that happen?
So, good. Thank you. Good question. I was working for Colteen. I was on my 4th year, my last year, and I decided that I knew, unfortunately, that there was no way up for me. I was a product manager. I had several roles there, and they hired me as a product manager. That's actually it couldn't be its own podcast, but you talk about the word guile, right? So in 2007, I was at my wife's family farm in Ohio, and we were having a great time. It's in the middle of nowhere, no cell service. We're shooting guns off the back porch, and it's Amish country and everything. It's pretty cool. And so I'm looking at my wife, and I'm like, wouldn't it be great if we could, kind of live this lifestyle and get away from the SoCal rat race, And she's like, yeah, but but there aren't any jobs out here. And I said, well, there's a really big dental company just not about an hour from here, Colteen Whalen. How about I go down into this little town, Scio, Ohio, if anybody's ever heard of it, which is a speck on the map. I'm going to go down into town. I'm going to go to the internet cafe, and I'm going to see if there are any jobs there. And sure enough, there were 2 product manager jobs. And I applied. I typed up a resume. It took me 10 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. And I faxed it. And I got in the car, and I'm getting ready to drive back up to the farm. You had to go over this ridge route, right, which is, it's, again, country. It's like Ohio Appalachia. And I get a phone call. It wasn't even 7 minutes from when I sent the fax to when I got a phone call. And it was HR. And they said, hey, we want you to come in. And so basically my cover letter said, hey, I've been in the dental business for 11 years. I would really like to interview with you for a product manager job. I'm here in Ohio, and if that works for you, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. And 7 minutes later, I got a phone call, and I said, no, can you be here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock? So they were having this. It was a real struggle because in Northeast Ohio is not a hotbed of dental industry people, right? It's mostly automotive. American Greetings, the greeting cards, they had a place there. And so when I went in, it was kind of like, okay, the first day, the first interview, asked me a bunch of dental stuff. And then they said, well, we want you to interview with the CEO and the vice president of global marketing the next day. And the best part was, before I even went to the interview, the night before the interview, I had to haul ass to Canton, Ohio, to the Men's Warehouse to go and buy a suit and a shirt and a tie and belt, because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't looking to get a job. And so yeah, I went to Men's Warehouse. They hooked me up, and the seamstress was still there, and so she hemmed everything up for me. I used that stupid suit and tie and shirt 2 days in a row, and they didn't even say anything to me at Cold Team when I came the day after my first interview, and I was wearing the same stuff. But yeah, I got the job, and it was a huge deal for me. I mean, I don't know. I just it's weird. I think I don't know if it's still this way. Maybe then nobody ever wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I really want to be in the dental industry. Nobody does that. You fall into it, and I fell into it, and I've been happy for it because it's treated me extremely well. So, Garrison, I was bored at, I'll say that the wrong way, not bored at Cold Team. I had topped out. I was going to move up, and I got an email because I'm so many contacts in the business. Somebody, a good friend of mine, he's actually a big wig now in the large group practice DSO market. His name is Bill Newman. And Bill Newman forwarded me an email he got from Tom Garrison saying that they were looking for a rainmaker, which I'd never heard of that term before. I had to look it up, and I didn't know it had to do with making it rain. And, and so I came here for a day-long interview. It was the most grueling interview I'd ever had in my whole life. 8 hours. It wasn't 8 hours straight. We had an hour lunch in between, but it was 8 hours just internally. And then Tom Garrison took me out after we were done with interviewing with everybody. And so we went out and had drinks and dinner and ended up getting kind of bombed, actually. And when he dropped me off at the hotel, he's like, all right, what's it going to take for you to come here and work? Because, I mean, he's a great guy, and his partner, Rob Anderson, he's a great guy too. And so I'm sitting there going, gosh, all the best decisions I've made for the most part in my entire life, I've made snap decisions, and I've been lucky that way. A lot of people can't handle that. And so I basically just said, yeah, you know what? I'll talk to at that time, the president of the company, David Crouch. I said, in the morning, I'll talk to David and we'll see what happens. And so the stars aligned, and I've been here over 8 years now, which is it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I people overuse the term. Oh, I feel so blessed. I really do. I really do. I think I've been very fortunate, personally and in business. It's worked out. So
those 8 years obviously do it. That's what's cool about it.
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of so from the outside, from a dental side of it, like me being a business owner and also being a clinician, is that you're trying to create those business atmospheres and style of practice and all those things. It's kind of a lot to handle, more than I thought it was going to be. But
I'm sure
it's fun, but then that's what I'm saying. You just got to take up so much time for all that stuff. But even just creating the culture, like to someone what like a Garrison has done or something like that.
Yeah.
It takes a while, and you got to give it some time, and then just a lot of that effort, just create an environment where people want to go and stay. But that's where I think that biomimetics relates into that, because really you're trying to give people the best quality care possible, similar to any type of business that really cares. They're trying to give the patients whatever product they're giving out, the employees, the best care possible, if that makes sense too. I mean, it's cool. That's good. It's kind of fun.
Well, that's the thing I find fascinating with your approach, dude, is that I've heard this term biomimetic dentistry for a while, for at least the last 9 or 10 years. And the more when I met you, I think by total accident, it's fascinating to me because it's almost like it's its own little sphere within a sphere, right? And so, and then I told you, a lot of the things that were on your website when I was learning about it, that's the tie-in for Garrison and biomimetic dentistry. Well, or I guess maybe or more holistic dentistry on one hand was the whole Hal Huggins thing. you know, and that's, Edgar Garrison is the one. He went to a Hal Huggins thing with some other people, and and it transformed his practice, and I was really actually surprised, and maybe I would even say a little bit shocked when I read that on the website of your practice, going, wow, this is almost like I hate saying it this way, but it always sticks in my head. It's such a good quote. It's the Forrest Gump. It's like peas and carrots, dude. And I don't like peas or carrots, but but it's fitting. It's still fitting. And I don't. I mean, I think, and then watching the webinar series that you did, and you were like, I can't believe you're even sitting through these. And it's like, no, dude, it's cool stuff, man. I mean, it's for the end user or for the patient. It's great if you can find somebody who's not just, okay, well, yeah, oh, you know what? Oh, I think we're going to make that a crown. You know what I mean? That happens so often, and I get it on one hand, and on the other hand, it's, I don't know. I think a better standard of care is always good for the patient.
Well, that's what's funny is that I've never considered myself to be holistic or biological, whatever that stuff is,
Yeah.
One of my first jobs, like what you're mentioning, I came across that from one of the offices where I worked at. He was kind of doing the hybrid of the two. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But then once I started realizing what the biomedics is and what it offers, like how I'm preventing all this different stuff, and I'm preventing root canals from happening. I don't like amalgams for whatever reason because it's hard for the tooth. I'm looking at it from a biomechanical or medic viewpoint. I'm like, okay, if that's holistic, sure, I guess. And so by default, I've kind of just gone that way because it feeds into my system, and it's kind of looking for it. And so it's plus the patients, they're amazing because they care. And so the quality of their side is amazing because they're actually being active, trying to be, take care of their body from a different approach, and so it's just been a good fit for it all. And maybe it is a little bit of marketing mixed in with it too, which is nice, because they're the ones searching it out. So it's fine.
I think it gives you an edge, dude, because I mean, I think if you did, I want a biomimetic dentist in this area in Dallas, right? And you're that guy, and I mean, I don't want to go down the whole rabbit hole of, some people who call themselves biomimetic dentists just because it's kind of like of a buzzword or whatever. But, that was the thing that I found, that was impressive was, as far as you're concerned is that, you're living it, and you're doing it and you're committed to it. And that's great. I mean, I don't know. I got a tiny little bit jaded at Glidewell, because my job was, one of my roles was I got every single angry dentist call because I managed the customer service department, and it was all female, and so I'd be in my office, and then I get a call, Jason, I've got somebody who's inconsolable, right? And okay, that's fine. And so I get them on the phone, and you get a guy. It's usually guys. Women wouldn't scream and yell on the phone. They do the other side. They want you to feel their pain and everything that way, and that's fine. It's men and women are different. But I was really stunned sometimes at how angry some people would be. And my thing, I learned it from my mentor was, you listen to them and say, you know what? How about this? Just go ahead and put the bridge in the box. I'll set a call tag for it, okay? And I'm sorry we didn't live up to your expectations, but you got to promise me one thing: you're never going to send us another case again. do you know how much of a slap in the face that dentists feel that is? It's like, whoa, hold on a second here. I'm not that mad. And it's like, well, you're mad enough. I mean, you're using profanity, and you're basically telling me that I'm incompetent, and that and fair enough. I mean, you're that mad. It's okay. In the Marine Corps, you get yelled at a lot. You get used to it, dude. And so you're angry dentist. So yeah, sure, okay. Well, I was embarrassed in front of my patient, and he's never going to come back. And well, what do you want me to do? You want me to send you some coupons for a couple free crowns? Is that going to make you happy?
Oh, yeah.
9.5 out of 10 times that make them ecstatic.
Yep, that's what
You
they
know?
want. Free.
Right, dude. And I get it. I mean, it's the reputation. It's like, well, that patient, if they had to come back 2 or 3 times to get something, to get a crown seated, they're going to tell their friends, oh, don't go to this guy. You know, he doesn't know what he's doing. But, you know, a lot of times it's the lab. Sometimes it's the impression. You know, and I didn't know going into working for a lab that I don't know how your office is or what the rules are, but hell, a lot of times dentists don't even take their own impressions. They let the assistant do it, you know. And so you'll get a little bit of a pull, you know, you get a broken margin or something, and then you call them, hey, I don't know, we don't know we can work with this. Just make it work. Okay.
Okay, I'll do it.
Well, I'll make it up with cement. It's fine.
You're right. Well, so we use heated composite for everything. You know, that's how you cement on like an onlay or whatever.
Yeah.
If there are some voids there, I'm like, I already have that bio base built in where it has that coating of resin.
Yeah.
It really just kind of changes that margin. I mean, I don't look at it tons, but it depends on what's going on with it. But I mean, I know. So.
Right.
No, I mean, I like the hand quality. I'm kind of that guy. I mean, I don't know, like on a restorative day, a busy day, 3, 4, 5 patients a day. That's not, you know, hygiene seeing their normal 1 per hour or so.
Right.
But like, I'm not seeing tons of patients, nor do I want to. I mean, I go slow on purpose just because I want the details and things. I'm not saying somebody can't be detailed going faster, but that's just me.
Sure.
But I mean, but on the same side, from the tech side, I appreciate the guys that will go a little slower with their work, you know, things like that. But no, it's interesting though. That's cool though.
Now, the wild thing to me is that the transition from the old style of you know, lost wax technique and you know and your ceramist you know, firing porcelain onto you know, making PFMs and things, or PFGs. Now you know, you've got a bunch of younger people in front of big monitors, and they're designing the crowns that are going to be milled, you know, and they're using multi-layer discs so you can get some, you know, incisal translucency and the whole bit, and then have a nice looking crown that's actually made by a machine. And, you know, I was always told years ago that eventually this was going to happen. And I don't remember who the hell told me. It wasn't my mentor. Somebody said, if you want to see what's going to happen in the dental industry in the next 20 years, look at the optometry industry. And, you know, because it used to be that, you know, you would send to a local place and they'd grind the lenses and you'd get them. But then they turned into this big automated system, you know, globally. And now all of a sudden, you know, nobody hand grinds any lenses anymore. They're all done by machine.
Yeah.
You know. So
there's this group. I don't know if you know much about them. They're called Damaged Goods or Dental Technicians Guild.
No.
I guess for them, but they're based out of so they're everywhere in the world. But the people that started are based out of Utah. That's how I found my favorite lab technician. His name is, but like this, all these people, they're really striving for the opposite, to keep it traditional or keep it handmade quality restorations. Use technology whenever it's there and it's available to you, but just have a higher standard, higher level. And but it's cool though, because it is that difference, you know, just trying to get that handmade flair to it though, you know. But honestly, the difference that I've seen from something like that versus the milled, the fit is way more precise. I don't have to do any adjustments, you know. It just drops right in and it's like gold.
On a handmade?
Yeah, the ones that come from this guy I was telling you about. Well, but like all the work I get is just like I put it in and it's good and see you later, bye.
Well, I'm sorry to ask. I mean, you know, since we're all girlfriends and everything, but what lab is that, dude?
So yeah, his name is Bo Murphy. It's with Fifth Element up in Utah.
I never heard of him. No,
he's a small guy. I mean, he's got a few people with his lab, you know. Yeah. He's growing a bunch like that, but like it's really the handmade stuff, and it's super artsy, super quality. Even the veneers we've done with them are like, so we've done a few different like bleach shades, and the stark white you'd see like on a wall, you know, or like toilet bowl type stuff, you know, they'd say. It has like 5 different shades in the translucency. So like,
Oh, that's nice.
it's very detailed and depth to it, which is good.
Well, yeah, we used to call that Hollywood white, right? The toilet shade, like a B0, right, or B00. And the Europeans used to laugh all the time. He goes, the European technicians, they're trying to replicate or fit in with adjacent dentition, right? And so you got somebody who's got coffee, 45 years of coffee and wine stains, and some like dark stains at the gingival margin, and so they'll replicate it to make it look like it's supposed to be there, and we would laugh at that, and they would laugh at us, going, you have, Jason, you have 80-year-old women running around with these bright white teeth like they're from Hollywood, and it's different culture, I guess, but as I've always been told from dentists, it's like, well, we give them what they're asking for. So if they want if they want a B0 shade for their denture, that's what they're going to give them, and that's fine. But that's really good to hear, though, dude. I mean, I kept thinking that. Well, I've been told that, like, especially the U.S. Dental laboratory market. When I was working for DVA, there were around 14,000 laboratories in the United States. And as I hear now, it's probably like 5,000 or something, because so many have closed down, and not because of COVID. This is like a year ago.
Right.
And I know, I can't remember the damn name of it. I talked to the guys. They were in Southern California. There was some Japanese technicians that had a laboratory, and and it was a fairly good sized laboratory. But their whole thing was that they were making the exquisite stuff. You know what I mean?
Their work is amazing.
Yeah. Yes. And if you get a good technician that knows what the heck they're doing, and like you said, the best thing is if you get that thing you get that case from the lab, and you pull it out, you look at it a little bit, and if it just drops right in and it's perfect, I mean, it makes you look like a hero. Patient's happy. You pay your fee, boom, and everybody's happy. It's the ones that you got to grind on. I don't think it sounds like you don't have that problem very much, but
sometimes,
yeah, it's a bummer if you got to grind on that thing to make it fit.
But yeah, you look like an idiot. You're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's
exactly.
Like, it's so funny. I'm like, well, I just got this back. God, I've never tried it yet, but
right.
And I've done different labs, so I've seen different things like that. But like, it's so funny though. Like when they're just like sitting there forever, like they just know intuitively, they know that it should just be good. I should be in and out within 15 minutes of this appointment, but yet you're spending an hour trying to adjust the stupid thing.
Yeah. No, that is. I don't envy that with you guys at all. That's a hard one, man. But I was gonna say, we're approaching an hour right now, and I don't want it to go too long, because I don't want people falling asleep or anything, because of me. But I would say, do you have any closing remarks at this point that you want to throw out there? Because I think it's been a really good conversation so far, dude. So
I know it's not where I was thinking it was going, but it's kind of a rehash of the dental industry and the tech side, kind of the transitions of dentistry and where things are going and stuff.
Sure.
I mean, I think on the tech side, your business side, or any side you're looking at, like things are trying to be more automated. It's easy to lose those details if you're not careful. But
yeah,
really, it's I don't know. It's just we're all trying to be better, but nothing important to say. No.
All right, dude. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I want to say is, if anybody is listening, I hate saying it that way, as I really think it's going to be interesting. It'll be it's either going to be well accepted, or somebody was going to send or throw virtual tomatoes. But I would say anybody who's lasted this long watching this, we're giving out a healthy discount for our mention code. So the mention code for this is 20% off, and the code is P like Paul, C like Charlie, 0720, and that's 20% off of your order on the website for domestic U.S. orders. And I'll say it that way. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I think, every time I talk to you, I learn a little bit more, and I feel really, glad that we met each other, and we seem to have pretty good conversations, dude.
Tell us more about the beer you're drinking, huh?
What's that?
Next time, tell us more about the beer you're drinking.
I will. Well, you know what? It's a special one. I'll just do a quick shout out. We have a local brewery about 4 miles away from this office.
Nice.
It's called Oddside Ales, and I'm actually a brand ambassador for them.
See?
And they do one it's a special release every year. It's called El Dankerino, right? So if you're familiar with the movie The Big Lebowski, he goes into this whole thing about what you can call me. You call me the dude or his dudeness or El Duderino if you're not in that whole brevity thing. And El Dankerino is a West Coast style double IPA. It's around about 10%. And so if I'm slurring it just a little tiny bit, it's because it's really strong. So I prefer IPAs and double IPAs. Some people like Hefeweizens, some people like lagers. I say, why mess around? If you're going to get somewhere, just get there fast. And it's delicious. So next time we can do cocktails, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry you didn't have anything in your hand. I'll send you a Manhattan kit next time or something.
I got a water bottle. That's it.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? Because you're a lot more responsible than I am.
All good.
Right on, man. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, Jeff. Really appreciate it, dude.
Yes. Always. Thank you.
All right. And, in the next one in the series, we'll see what happens. Like you were saying, I think it'd be pretty cool if we could get somebody in, you do a third, and, we can do some, tag team interviewing and get somebody who's pretty interesting. More interesting than me, and we'll see what happens.
Dude, we can easily do that.
I think so. I think so too. All right, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you have a great evening with your family. And thanks for the time, man.
Same. Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye.